underestimated how long it would take to hit enter a multitude of times on the old doings. And indeed, on the thingies. I wanted to put it as close to the old start of the stream as possible. Oh, hello. Good Lord. You are right here. Bang on the dot of the beginnings. It's a real shame that everything's not ready. Because if it was fucking ready, whew, boy, would that have been even more spectacular. Anyway, not going to take long to be ready. So we are, in fact, a go. Well, maybe. Let's see. Grandia. Are you going to play the ball, Grandia? Grandia, pick up the ball. Grandia. Grandia, pick up the ball. Are you at least trying to pick up the ball? Okay, I think you are trying to pick up the ball. There we go. It has, in fact, picked up the ball. Good, Grandia. Good. No, not that ball, Grandia. It could pick up another ball. Yes, it would be awkward, but no. I believe the there we go. Marvellous. Unfortunately, all the chat's disappeared, but it can't be helped against a white background. It's relatively rare. I mean, obviously, it happens every single week with Grandia because Gung Ho and Skybox and all the other bits and bobs, they're all white screens. But in the grand scheme of things, it's a rarity to have a white screen for most of these games. I must admit, I really ought to try and build a slightly more official and proper. Everything else has an official and proper overlay, except this. So, okay, that's sending me back. I was going to say, really, I want to go forward. I must admit, slightly confused as to where I am, what I'm doing, and who I'm doing it to. But I think we dealt with this place, right? We went through and had a crack, and yeah, there was a little robot there, and we dealt with everything. And then we stopped prior to going out here, which is going to have... maybe not. Maybe I do need to go back. Because, yes, okay, this is where we fought the evil TO. And therefore, Skybox is a good name for a company in the video game industry. True. Although possibly more so a company that actually deals in building skyboxes, of course. Because that is, strictly speaking, a thing. Obviously, it's it's a box that is the sky. Ladders or stairs, technically. More stairs. Rotational stairs. Whee! Swing low, sweet chariot. Right, Great Rift 3. Here we go. This now theoretically we turned off the storm, if memory serves. Here we go. Oh, of course, we're barely 2 fucking minutes in, and good old fucking Mareg sniffing the sky. The wind has subsided. Thank God. I thought you'd never stop, Ryudo. I remember that's a fucking... there you go. That's a week-long gag there. Oh, here we go. Everybody thought the Grandia Saber was a sword. Well, guess what it fucking is, sort of, but isn't also. It's not quite just a sword. It's a fucking great giant thing. By the blood of hell, that's the Grandia Saber. That is the divine sword. It's huge. Okay. I'm not going to say it, but I think we all know post-phrase "that's huge." We all know what is planned on being said, so I'm not going to say it because we're going to get through at least half an hour without smut and filth. But I think we all know what is the first thought when she shouted, "Oh, it's huge!" The pro Smite player that called jungler that played in the mid lane. I can't help but think if he was a pro, then I don't know. No, that just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Because if you're a pro and you're in your pro team, then surely you would just be sort of conversing with your team, and therefore you wouldn't need some kind of strat that puts people off, perhaps. Because that could be, if you're in like a public place and you went, I'm going to be the jungler, and then you suddenly were the mid lane, maybe your opponent would be thrown off by that. It could work as a pro strat, but you wouldn't necessarily have to say that as a, it would be difficult to say it with that, because you're not chatting to the other team, I don't think. For the first time, I see there are things greater than myself. I mean, okay. In more ways than one, truly, this blade would cleave mountains. Yet who among us has the strength to lift it? Not even me, the mighty beastman. Well, I haven't technically spoiled it yet. But nonetheless, it's not the sword you think it is. Because obviously, as we've just established, the Great Rift Part 4. Oh, here we go. There it is. It's over there. Look at the size of that sword. Ain't no one gonna wield that thing in with ease.
Elena, you have done well.
Two things to note: voice and bitch.
Priestess Celine?
What are you doing here?
Fucker.
Your work has impressed us. His Holiness Zera
my
will
work
be
is
overjoyed.
perfection.
I have come to help you.
Oh no, voice acting.
Come, awaken, body of Valmar. The time of revival is nearly upon us.
The body of Valmar?
Where? I don't see it.
Take my blood and be born again.
Okay.
Oh, body of
Do you have the body of Valmar, or are we looking at the sword was pinning the body of Valmar? I think it might be the sword was pinning the body of Valmar. Although that is alarmingly blue blood there. It's weird because now it's red. So it's slightly peculiar. But yes, I think the idea is the sword was pinning the body of Valmar. Quote unquote sword. We will establish precisely what it is in the not too distant future, but it's not just a sword. Someone's going to get killed. Ooh, foreshadowing.
Just what is the meaning of
Probably
this?
High Priestess Celine, in fairness. She's about to become a boss battle, I suspect.
Oh, body of Valmar, I sacrifice this one to you.
Which, the knight dude. That seems a bit unfair. Although he don't seem fussed, does he? Ah, he's happy. He's happy to commence. Not 100% sure if those knights are actually human knights. Because obviously now we've revealed that Celine is a little bit on the evil side. You can possibly predict and guess that
the smell, it must not be.
the Holiness Zera is perhaps not 100% on the level either.
What is this?
I don't know. You're going to have to focus the camera so we can see. It is a nice blade. I will just state that. It may not actually be a sword, but it is a nice looking blade. Plus, I think I do get a mini version of that sword. And I'm fairly confident throughout the entire game it doesn't change. It doesn't actually change the in-battle weapons at all. But I think this is the first point in time. The first point in time where you actually get a shift in the graphics because Ryudo actually utilises the Blade of Granus in battle as well, I think. But I might not be remembering that correctly. The tail end of this game is sort of lost in a bit of a fog because it's one of those games where I've discussed this before, where you start it thinking I really want to play this game, and then you go, I think I fancy playing something else now. And then you drift off, so you don't see the end. You see the end like one time, and then you sort of see the beginning section several... Motherfucker. I don't know why it did that, but it wasn't an actual crash, it just swapped focus. Which is a problem. I don't understand why it does that.
You're gonna help me. Come on, let's rock.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. Millennia is entirely ready to take on the body of Valmar. Cool, so here we go. Fucking... Wow, inside the... Come on, we're inside of it now. What the hell are we supposed to do? If we take out its core, there's no way in hell the thing will keep moving. I don't give a damn how big it is. Right, then let's do some damage. Alright. Let's fuck some shit up. Oh, squelching sounds. Is there a... No, I don't think there is. I'll tell you what, just rotate the camera. No, it's not allowing me. That's fair enough. Squelching sounds. This is not how I expected any of this to go. No, it has kind of just ended up going, shit's gone down. Throw all of the shit that has gone down. Throw it all at the wall. As much of it as you can possibly throw. But yeah, right, I suppose arguably what we need to do is A, make sure you have the accessory. MP consumption by 15%. I believe that is probably the one, although I might be wrong. SP consumption. It could actually be well worth it. That's not so much. Dragon scales. No. 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 Whoops. I said no, game. I said no. Carry on popping through, see if there is anything else. I don't think there is. I think it's the... I'm fairly confident it is the reduced mana, because it allows it to throw magic more. So, I mean... She's more used to sort of fire, wind and lightning. And I haven't really upgraded the star egg, despite the fact that it is classified as the ultimate mana egg. I don't fully want to. I mean, she is a demon, so demonic mana egg goes nicely with it. Okay, so the Sylph's robe is vastly superior. The fairy ribbon, yeah, I think the fairy ribbon's probably the way to go. Mac boots, lose a bit of act. Magical high heels. That so the Mac boots are certainly better of the two. Exorcism and dread. 105 to attack. Yeah, that's vastly superior. So I think we've now got our girl up to scratch, up to sort of her greatest capacity. But yeah, we're gonna. I mean, very little sort of pomp and circumstance at this point. It's kind of been, here, go through this big dungeon. Here, go through this big dungeon. Now go through this next big dungeon. It's just constant dungeon at this point. It's a big, big moment in the game. Oh, yes, it is. Also, not entirely convinced we win here. Because this, I will, spoiler alert, this is not the end of the game at this exact moment in time. Do you know if this is close to the end? I'm fairly confident no, it is not. Because there's at least... I mean, there is a moment I know is coming, and... Oh, it's a toughie. It's a toughie of a moment. I will not divulge any further details outside of that. Make of the phrase toughie what you will. But nonetheless, it is a tough moment to endure. But... in order to complete the game, you have to do it. And so, yeah, as I say, I'm fairly confident we do fail in our job of sealing the body here, because there is a lot more tasks to be done. Golden potion, potion of azure, and resist dress. Well, one would loosely assume the resist dress. I imagine most dresses make Millennia irresistible, let alone resistant. But nonetheless... we'll rock on over here. Let's just double check around there. Oh, he's just straight coming at me. There's no... there is no way of doing it. Oh, what are you doing poisoned, T.O.? I think we should probably deal with that. Halva. It's a bit expensive for solely poison, but I suppose sometimes you have to make an exception. And just embrace the fact... that, oh, plague net. We don't really want a plague net, Mr. Tarantula, sir. Get rid of the poison, dear. refresh with the power of a green tree. In fairness, there's not many other colours that trees tend to be for the most part. Although I suppose in autumn they tend to be brown. Why is that thing still allowed to do Plague Net? I will take a slash over your dreams and remove you from the map, sir. Goodbye. Goodbye. I don't like your face, so I have removed it. Removed it from my sight. That's what I wanted. Probably don't need millennia. Oh no, I need a little bit of millennia there. Most likely she'd turn around and hit the one behind her, although I haven't said that. No, I think she did. It wasn't necessary, because it would seem Ryudo could take a tarantula by himself if pushed to do so. Oh, yes, of course. I think this is the first time we've ever seen one of these lava creatures. What they do is they've got like an area of effect gas attack, which they will use in a horrible and nasty fashion. Got a feeling there might be a secret around the back here. Oh, bugger. Okay, no, that's not too bad. It is just a loop. I do appreciate a nice little loop because it means you don't miss something. Oh dear, Melania is struggling with poison. Oh, it's bad. Oh, of course, we have a new ability to unlock. We have seen Spellbinding Eye, Starving Tongue, and Falling Wings, haven't we? I believe we've seen all of those. Fiora, no, that's not one I'm after. In fact, no, she doesn't have a fucking poison heal. That's a fucking nuisance. In fact, it looks like Halva is really my only poison heal, which is well, I think Ryudo and Mareg might have one. Can't guarantee that on Mareg. I think Ryudo might have one, which is a bit of a waste, because, well, he doesn't use magic that much. Whereas Tio, of course, 2 Halvas, and she's taken a fair chunk out of her fucking meter. So do you have Cure? Yes, of course. That's a bit of a nuisance, because you are my primary attacker. Refresh. Cure. Okay, we've got Cure on Mareg. That's not too bad. Gonna have to keep curing everybody, cause, well, bloody poison. I suppose arguably I do have the option, if I really, really wanted to heal Melania up a bit, because she has taken a fucking beating. I think she may very well be sort of slightly lagging behind everybody, because the way you don't use her that often, where she starts extremely potent. I don't know if they keep up with it. I will have a look in the menu, see how her level fares against the others. I mean, you would assume they would sort of keep her up. Oh, 43. Yeah, so actually perfectly fine, but she does just feel a little bit like she's dropped off a little bit. But we now have the Grudging Claws. What we'll do is prioritise getting arrow shot to maximum. That means first levels are maximum all the way. Now, split enemy with claw power, block enemy movement, absorb HP. That's always going to be quite a good one to have. But the wings are ultimately her sort of signature, so I think what we'll do, we'll bias the tongue, as it were. I will bias that tongue. And at this point, because I've basically I've focused and got all the spells I really want and need. So we're going to pretty much, I mean, we just unlocked an achievement. Egg Farmer, max all abilities in a mana egg. Nice. But what we're going to do is just spend our points relatively willy-nilly, just maxing out each egg as and when we can. Because I don't, I've very much done it. I'm actually moderately pleased at the way I've done it. I suppose it's because I know the game. Right, okay, that eye, I believe. Yeah, you can't get me. But I think if I go over here, this is going to be secret, unless the eye is the secret. Bugger. Alright, we'll use the eye now, because hopefully I can undo the eye. Or the eye's not going to make any difference. No, I don't think the eye made any difference. Right, that's fine. But it does annoy me. Which way is the correct way, game? Please let me know. I kind of feel like this way is the incorrect way. And I would like to think it makes me the Egg Lord. For I am the master of eggs. I have many eggs to my name. And I have only mastered one, which isn't that good. But there you go. Come on, Ryudo. Come on, buddy. Yes, good lad. Unfortunately, yeah, if I want to block that plague net, and I do. I really do. This is why you... Yeah, that's good. That's a good question. How are you? How are you, Mr. Onibushu? I should have asked myself, but I didn't. Because I'm selfish. Self-absorbed arsehole. Thoroughly absorbent arsehole. Really? Yeah. You know, the human body does absorb moisture, I believe. Therefore, I am thoroughly absorbent. Pretty good. That is good to hear. That is actually good to hear. I'm glad. And how are you, Chester? Are you doing well? We've established you had an early dinner. Hopefully that's not given indigestion. But you know, just being early doesn't tend to actually... it being earlier doesn't give you indigestion, I'd like to point out. Basically, I'm the greeting bot in any streams I am. That's good. Do you know what? I don't know. Maybe I'm sounding a bit patronising, and I can't help it. But it's good. It's good. I think it's very good that you greet everybody. I should do the same, but I don't. Insert semi-decent reason here. The reason why you have to wait for someone else to insert the reason is because there's not a good one, is there? Right, I got a feeling maybe there's a... Oh, God. Okay, the correct arrow sort of... this is going to be one of those, isn't it? Okay, no, because I can't physically do that. Christmas event for the juice. Is that as in that sort of board gamey... Do you know what? If it's a board game, I should look into that more. Is that orange juice, I believe it was called, was it not? Board game orange juice? Orange juice. Oh, unless maybe you can push this. It just doesn't... Okay, it just doesn't give you the exclamation mark. Fair enough. That's not unreasonable. But I suppose it gives you the first one so that you know you can move them, and then it doesn't give you any further ones, because at that point you should know you can move it. Now, the only problem is I feel like, you know... That's because a lot... 100% orange... Yes, that's the name. I knew it had something else other than just orange juice attached to it, but I couldn't quite think what the extra wording was. But I suppose the unfortunate thing is, and I do it as well. Some of the messages just you overlook them as you're flitting behind, between screens. Okay, I don't. Oh well, I found 4,500 worth of gold, so that's something. But I don't like this. I don't like it at all. I've never liked it. I'm not going to start liking it now. Let's see what we can accomplish. Can we move that back? No, we can't. Okay. It's Mario Party with dice and card battles instead of garbage mini games. I see. See, as I say, that's one of those ones I should probably have looked into that for the old Sunday afternoon at home, perhaps, because that would have made an interesting little extra. I was always slightly tempted to do Mario Party, but I feel like Mario Party by myself is not necessarily... Well, in fairness, I'm a sad fuck who did the entirety of Mansions of Madness by himself, so I've not had too much resistance to just doing it by myself. So that one's taken some damage. I'm not entirely sure it was the optimal shot, but it'll have to do. Get in there, good lad, and poof, and done. It's cheap and on sale frequently. Yes, I have seen. I can't remember. I don't think I've put it on my wish list, but you never know, you luck. That makes it easier to find when it's on sale. That's the key thing there. Doesn't actually have to be a game I want, but you know, Mario Party is only good if you have other people to scream at while playing it. True, it would probably be the better experience, I think. to sort of, you know, have that camaraderie of actually having other people playing the
Practice if
game.
you want to beat me.
I mean, I'm assuming you could probably do it on the GameCube emulator somehow. That screen sharing software that Nicarin mentioned in the past, I can't think of the name, but I do have it. I grabbed the link and the details, and I have it available to me in terms of sort of re-accessing it. So it doesn't make too much difference. Parsec, that's the one, yeah. Okay, this feels like I may have. I've also can't go back. So, I mean, I suppose maybe there could be an item that has some kind of achievement attached to it, but God, game, why do you keep making me make decisions? Okay, that treasure trove, douchebag. The stars are here. Doopy-doopy-doo. Yeah, it sounded. Did it work well with this parsec? I mean, I'm assuming to a certain extent, since you two, I think, had tested it prior to mentioning it on the Discord. I believe that's the series of events. But nonetheless, did it work reasonably well? Did it do what it needed to do? Yeah. So that could open up the idea of actually putting the emulators together in a slightly easier fashion, because essentially you'd be mimicking the idea of just doing it on one machine rather than trying to connect over the network to a second machine. Oh, wish I'd done something to avoid the spark press, especially because Tio, oh boy, Tio's almost dead. Oh wow, better than a lot of the video games. Shit, hell. I mean, it doesn't necessarily surprise me, but it is still... Wow, okay. It shouldn't surprise me, it does slightly surprise me, because you would really have thought it wouldn't be. That would not be the case, but as I say, it doesn't... It's one of those odd ones where it's like... It feels oddly surprising, despite really sort of being fully expected. But yes, we are now going against stealth enemies. Enemies who will... Ah, I thought that was a button. The only real handicap new players have is speed, having to read the rarer cards occasionally. Yeah, I mean that's usually the issue with card games. There we go. Yes, game. You were actually correct. I was surprised. Shh. Well, that's a bad time to be shushed. Okay, it's affected 2. Aggravating, but not the end of the world. Could do with you not house lashing me, so let's get rid of that. Has garbage online because their internet's so good. I see. I suppose so. They don't actually have to optimise it, I suppose, do they? Which is not optimal for any other people, but I suppose technically speaking, if it works for them, it works for them, I suppose. Okay, shall we put forth some grudging claws, Garn? We'll put forth some grudging claws just to see the move. Now, if I do house slash there, I should clip both of them. Yeah, that was probably the optimal decision, I think. It's difficult because it was a risk. It would have been very easy to have ended up avoiding hitting the target I needed to hit on that occasion.
Fresh ground hamburger.
More than the other 3 players. Oh, yes. And 8 blank hyper cards, interesting, to form the 48 card main deck. Fascinating. Oh yes, of course, the bleeding sphere. I'm going to squeeze your bits until they explode. Are you serious, game? Are you seriously telling me the claws of bloody Valmar weren't enough to kill a starfish?
You better practice if you want to beat me.
Ugly, horrendous bastards. How dare you? How dare you beyond comparison? Okay, I have distinctly lost which way I was supposed to be going. I don't like this area. I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. Every card unlocked has no real advantage over a new player. they have as much chance to draw the cards. Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's always a good system to have it be that you don't actually have to have played the game. Or, new players are welcome a bit more. It's easier to get into. That's always a crucial detail if you're designing any game, I think. Because I suppose it's almost a free sample if it's easy to get into, because then you'll go back for more and more and more and more. As I suspect you have, because you very much have 100%ed 100% orange juice. Let's see what we can do. Probably not a lot to you. I'm hoping Ryudo has one more in him. He did. Good. Okay, that's fine. Unfortunately, we probably wasted at least one attack there, so he's going to get something, but I'm not... Oh, unless... Oh, good man, Marek. Marek's doing really well in just blocking things. Just straight up going, you thought you were going to do damage? No. I sniff. Bullshit on you, sir. Right, I am entirely lost. So that's fun. Oh, we found a treasure chest, so it's not terrible, but the unfortunate thing is I can't really not rotate the camera, because if I don't rotate the camera I can't find the secrets and the paths. But if I end up rotating the bloody camera, I've lost track now of where I started everything, which kind of has equated to me sort of just completely losing track of everything. So we're going to be going round in circles for a bit, I think, until finally it just goes, you stumbled upon the correct way. Congratulations. You just randomly found the right path. Well done, you. I mean, you could have done all three of those, Ryudo, if you'd, put a little bit of effort in, son. Put a little bit of effort in. Seen people win in their very first game win. I completely swapped all of the words around there. Never mind. The sentence would have equated to the same thing, but nonetheless. And if you draw on one of the blank hyper cards, it automatically becomes the one corresponding to your character. Ooh, nice. I quite like the idea of character-specific cards, because that makes it a bit more interesting. Any monsters? No. There's a monster in here. To a certain extent, it's quite nice here, finding monsters in a way. And I'll tell you what, it's Lotus Flower. I think that one might get me at least 2. Yeah. I was loosely hoping for 3 of them in target, but unfortunately, couldn't manage it. Oh well. With a little bit of luck. Unfortunately, that was not the luck I was looking for. Yep, Spark Press, no thank you. Get rid of him. Cut him down in his prime. So theoretically there should be another damaged one. Yeah, there we go, I was going to say. I was hoping Ryudo would auto-target one of the damaged ones and therefore would have wiped 2 out in one turn, but...
You better practice if you want to beat me.
Else is hyper if you use a few cards or land on a blue chest, but that's fairly uncommon, I see. It does sound like an interesting game. I mean, I think we've certainly discussed it in the past. I have no doubt there. Okay, I suppose let's try and just make sure we keep track of this. But there is a treasure chest. Ninja clothes. Ninja clothes. Okay, that's not too bad. So we've managed to get ninja clothes. That's something. Halo armor. Ninja clothes. Yeah, evasion. So I would put forth that the best candidate for ninja clothes... Okay, that's unexpected, but something to keep in mind, I suppose. Ninja clothes. Okay, so it lowers your mob a little bit. Yes, but it does raise your evasion another 10%. Now I don't know for certain how it stacks this idea of evasion, because at the moment she's got 25%, 10%, and then she'd potentially have another 10% if I give her ninja clothes. They feel appropriate for a Speedy Gonzales robo girl, so ninja clothes she gets. Precisely how they do the mathematics for the way this thing goes. I do not know, but I think we spin around this thing. It's like one of those fucking giant orb things. We sort of, yeah, we kind of, it's gribbly in it. But then, I think actually we've just flipped it upside down. You know where there was a load of chests that were sort of like poking out the bottom? What we've done is we've spanned this upside down, which means we can now get all of the treasure chests. Jump in if someone is playing with it. Playing it, rather, not playing with it. Playing with it, something completely different. A speedy robo ninja girl now. Not having to wait for a rando is nice. Well, what I might do is I might look into it, because obviously there's going to be a Steam sale in the not too distant future. Inevitably. Oh, horse manure. Okay, double horse manure. Do you want to go for a triple horse manure game, or are you happy just leaving it at the 2 horse manures? So what I've discovered, A, is I'm locked in combat, which is annoying, and B, I need to open that door I closed, which I'm hoping I won't find later on as well. I don't like this place, it kind of sucks. It sucks the biggest of wangs. Oh yes. How big is the wang? Well, it's Phil Wang. He's quite tall. So he makes it quite a big wang.
Nothing withstands my blade.
Half the pets and like a billion poses, which aren't very important, I see. You've done a good job of selling it, yeah. I was going to say, get in touch with the game developer. So what I think I have to do is I have to get the spherical room to rotate it back, open the fucking door again, then bring the spherical room back. Oh, God, it's slightly tiresome, isn't it? I believe this is going to just rotate it all the way back round. I don't think there's multiple states, but I'm slightly surprised it didn't rotate the opposite direction, but we'll see. No, there you go. There's the button we wanted. Now we want to go back to the spherical room. Sometimes these things... Cosmetics are the most important part. They usually are. You can use the pose in your avatar thingy. Nice. That's always a nice thing. I don't know. I'm a little bit of a sucker for those sort of identity cards. Especially, I suppose, on the sort of multiplayer games. I always quite enjoy doing it on sort of Call of Duty and all those other ones where you get to choose your sort of... Which title would you like? Which one of these would you like? Oh, that's an open treasure chest. That's fine. Now we've got an opening there or an opening there. We've also got an enemy behind me. We'll go deal with the enemy because I might as well. Well, that's it. You know. Have you played Worms Rumble? Anybody played Worms Rumble? The latest of the Worms games? It's quite fun. Hardly fun. But the customisation of the worms is quite amusing, being able to do that. I know a guy who made an eye-meltingly horrendous worm in that, you know, fucking pink body, blue hat. It was like, oh, actually no, it might have been a green hat, which made it even worse. And then he very much started deliberately trying to melt people's eyes with his worm. Take that sentence how you will. But yeah, I quite enjoyed it. It's a weird, it's not your traditional Worms experience, so don't look at it going for a traditional Worms experience. But nonetheless, it was, you know, it was fast-paced, wild, wacky, and fun. The only disappointing thing is it's lost. I feel like it lost a bit of the humour. That was the key thing that I noted when I was playing it. It really felt like it had lost some of its really good, entertaining humour. There just didn't feel like there was as much sort of joyous hilarity that the previous entries had. The dialogues felt a little bit sort of like, eh. I mean, it's serviceable and makes you chuckle a little bit, but nothing spectacular. And it's got the slight disadvantage that it's clearly been designed to be a little bit like the way Fall Guys is doing their sort of seasons mode. It felt like, very much felt like it was going to try and emulate that idea of sort of introducing things in a seasonal fashion, which, I don't know, it seems to work well for those online games. I'm not. Oh, okay. Millennia is pissed off. I'd completely forgotten about that meter, so I really wasn't paying attention at all. Oh well, Fallen Wings will solve the problem. Ooh, nah. See, I wouldn't necessarily suggest Worms Rumble as your first, because I think the traditional Worms experience is probably the best available. However, Worms Rumble's fun. I imagine if Malice was here, he would very much be peeved at the notion of what they've done to Worms, because I think he is a fairly firm. That's a bugger. I'm going to ignore it because I'm not a completionist. Hashtag not a completionist. Adamantine Helm. Ooh, that sounds nice. We will try and do it. You've played it before. Oh, that's fair enough. You just don't own one. That's fine. I suppose arguably, yeah, you did specify I've never owned it rather than you've never played it. But nonetheless, as I say, if it, you know, it makes you run faster. It's not a huge benefit, but I don't. Not while he's got warp shoes. I don't necessarily want him to. Yeah, the problem is losing that attack. You know what? Fuck it. I just won't equip the Adamantine Helm. It may be new, but that doesn't mean I have to equip it. Do learn that most sacred and reasonable of things. You don't always have to equip everything you pick up. Sometimes you can make your own decisions and not do it. Although eventually I will probably fall. Oh, another one. Sneaky little bastard. Hiding here. Ooh, yeah. At one point last week, Malice started trying to make the argument that cartridges are better than CDs. That's true. He did suggest that. Although technically, I'll give him benefit of the doubt. I'm fairly certain he was only suggesting it in the sense that cartridges didn't crash, or the games on the cartridges didn't crash. The cartridges themselves are a bastard sometimes, but nonetheless, technically, I think the games. I mean, in fairness, the games back then, I don't know. I realise I'm now sounding like I'm distinctly parroting Mr. Caliber, but nonetheless, I don't know. You do start realising that games back then, and you know, up until patches became an available commodity, games back then were built and finished. And it does. I know. I'm showing my age now. I fear. Oh shit! They disappeared. Okay. Well, let's hope they reappear, but not in a surprise fashion. There we go. Okay. Didn't get the jump on them, but nonetheless, I didn't get surprised either, so that's something. But yeah, I do get that sense that they were just better made back in the day. The games were smaller, yeah, on cartridges, of course, the games were smaller and less sophisticated. Asterisk, caveat, insert caveats galore, because the phrasing "not as sophisticated" is not. It's a bit of a misleading statement. Broken and unfinished games are shipped all the time. I see. I can't deny it. I suppose maybe I'm not going to lie. It's probably rose-tinted goggles, I suppose. But I don't know. A lot of the games I played, at least, felt way more sort of solidly constructed than nowadays, where it's like a fucking holy shit, the whole thing is on fire. Please give us a moment to patch everything beyond comparison. But it's just no attention was paid to it. I suppose, yeah, that's true. That's true. That's actually an exceptional point. Well made. You couldn't do anything about it, therefore you perhaps let it, you know, people let it slide more, whereas nowadays, I suppose also, to a certain extent, there wasn't quite as much reviewing. I mean, there was reviewing, but there wasn't quite as much, I don't think, is what I'm trying to suggest. So you didn't have as readily accessible sort of, here's a review explaining all of the reasons why this game is broken. Here's, you know, to your fingertips. Obviously, nowadays you can pretty much go, I want to find out about this game. Phone, look up, done. Whereas back then, you sort of perhaps had to rely more on magazines and stuff. And it was perhaps a little bit more difficult to spread the word as to how broken some of these games were, so they also had that in their favour. But, yeah, I don't know. As I say, it's probably just nostalgia goggles, I think. Looking back and sort of thinking about these, something like Grandia, where, I mean, especially this Grandia example is ridiculous. Because it's kind of like, okay, guys, it didn't crash on the Dreamcast, you dickheads. You're going to have to help me out with what a Tomomo is. Oh, right. I've just gathered where the Tomomo thing comes from. It's 100% orange juice, I take it. I'll give you those. Likely more companies allow games to ship unfinished games to be patched later now. Yeah, but the idea it never happened is an overstatement. Yeah, that's true. But it does, I don't know. Yeah, certainly I think maybe they rely too much on the... They potentially do rely too much on that ship it, patch it later mentality that has developed perhaps too much. They may have sort of gone a little bit too far into that sort of, fuck it, ship it out, there we go, it's done, we'll patch it if needed. Which is a bit, feels a bit, you know, of a lackadaisical sort of thought track. Boosh. Oh, it's always annoying when it happens. I mean, Millennia is practically dead. This is alarming. I really don't want to have to deal with freezing breath, but I'm not 100% convinced the Beast Fang Cut's going to kill it. Stream a bit of the OJ sometime, preview the hype and check out the shop. I mean, absolutely stream a bit if you fancy streaming. You only get one chance at first impression. Yes. Yes. That is the crucial issue with a lot of these companies at the moment. They are struggling to get past the first impression because they keep so many, and it's one of those ones where it's like, it's not, you know, obviously a lot of this is to do with Cyberpunk and the state it was released in, but also Avengers was the same. Avengers was released in that terrible state, and that's lost a lot of, you know, that lost a lot of traction it could have had. And so, you know, and it's just, it feels weird. And I suppose it's pressure from the money makers and the people, you know, the higher ups just demanding results that can't actually be delivered upon in the time frame they want them in, perhaps. But just make the game properly. Maybe that's a naive sentiment. So, but yeah, it does start feeling that way, because obviously I've now experienced both Avengers and Cyberpunk, and it's, you know, a double whammy of, for fuck's sake, just make better games. Well, don't fuck up the launch, I suppose, is one of the crucial elements. Not necessarily making the better game, because they are better games. I haven't tried it yet. I'm slightly, I don't know, I'm finding myself a little bit sort of like, I don't know if I want to try it, because I was always in two minds. I was suckered in by the idea of getting some pre-order bonuses, but it's kind of like, I mean, absolutely, feel free to link it in the Discord. Absolutely. There is a, you know, there is a self-promo-y type thing, or the Link's place. I do currently own it, unfortunately. I say unfortunately, I mean eventually it will be decent enough, I'm sure, but I was always in two minds, because I knew I didn't really want to risk getting it on the older consoles. I didn't have a PlayStation 5, so I didn't really consider that as an option. So I've picked it up for the old PC, and there's a sort of there's a small part of me going, I don't know if I want to boot it up and find out that it's not going to work on my computer. Please work on my computer. So there's a slight trepidation of not necessarily wanting to. Although there is also the fact that I've been playing The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing, and therefore I wanted to complete that one first, which is not too unreasonable. And I have now completed it, and the final boss in The Adventures of Van Helsing is fucking horseshit. It is an absolute fucking joke of a boss that should never have been allowed inside of a game. It really is that bad. Rainbow high heels. Warp evasion. Ooh, I do like me some warp. Yes, rainbow high heels, please. There's no place like evading with a warp. There's no place like evading with a warp. With these little blocks, I'm probably going to miss some shit. And there's very little I can do about the fact that I'm missing some of this shit, because unfortunately, I'm approaching from a direction and it's like, eh. I mean, in fairness, I wouldn't, as I said last week, I probably wouldn't be able to recommend The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing, because it really did prove to be a little bit of a sort of slog of repetitive, mind-numbing nonsense. The story was mildly fun, and the characters they produced in it. Admittedly, I did sort of rag on the voice acting last week, and I stand by it. The fact that the voice acting was not that great, but the characters themselves were quite decent. But unfortunately, yeah, it proved a bit of a sort of nuisance. And then the final boss, I mean, for fuck's sake, it was just ridiculous. Giant mech, which, in fairness, giant mech alone is not a reason to dislike the boss, but the whole giant mech with a load of pillars and the fact that he could just sort of whoosh, they weren't that incredible then. No, they really weren't. I do sort of look forward to seeing what they do with the second one, because I bought the trilogy, I bought the 3-pack, so I am curious to see the second and the third one, to see if it's improved at all. One would hope so. Unless they do just release the same game with a different story each time, which would be unfortunate. Well, that's alarming, because I don't actually know what that status ailment is, which is concerning. Also, Millennia is practically dead, which is concerning. Let's deal with that. Hopefully, however, can solve this problem. I mean, it's supposed to resolve all status ailments, so good, it did. Superb. That's what we like to see. Halva doing its job. I must admit, our healer was a little bit overkill, because it is only Millennia that's struggling at the moment, I would say. Not entirely sure why she's struggling. Maybe she's just being targeted more. I don't know. I don't think. I mean, it's definitely plausible that the body of Valmar beasts are targeting Millennia more because she's a piece of Valmar. Seems like an unlikely addition to the game's programming, but not entirely unthematically reasonable, but just a bit sort of like, no, surely they wouldn't have actually bothered programming that level of detail. There's no kill quite like overkill. do 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 do. Oh, ultra kill. What about pentakill? Is a penta more than an ultra, or is an ultra more than a penta? I suppose it depends. How about penta ultra kills? Ow! Again, Millennia taking a fucking beating. I can only assume maybe it's the dress is just not quite doing what I need it to do. Also, I just can't quite seem to snag a really good heal for her, because what I think I need to do, Healer Plus solely on Millennia, because then that's going to dish out the most
Don't worry,
heals
everything's fine.
that I can possibly do, I think. Good, there we go. Because obviously, all healer, if you couldn't guess, it's not quite as potent as your healer plus, but it does everybody. It's that sort of ability. Hence why I sort of kind of lean towards it being pronounced all healer. I mean, there's not a second L, but nonetheless, it is a move that heals everybody. It heals all. Ultra kill, I see. But that's only because there's more blood involved. Understandable. If there is more blood involved, then you know it's better. Yeah. I see, that's one thing the Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing did quite well, was the blood. Now, granted, every now and again it showed up as, because it was quite obviously what they were doing is this fairly standard practice of it's a plane, and by plane I don't mean a sort of we're flying plane. I mean a flat square plane. Plane as in 3D modelling standard of plane. A lot of effects and grass in games, they're done on a flat 2D plane, and then you get sort of a transparency map that masks whatever it is you're doing. Think standard game bush. Your small little bush. The usual thing they do with that, I think, is... Actually, I'll tell you what, probably the best example, Doom. The original Doom. I think all of that's sort of... Although that's just 2D. That's just plain 2D, that's nothing to do with... I suppose technically they are a plane. The best example I've probably got is bushes in games tend to be on a flat plane that either will rotate with the camera or they'll be in sort of like a plus formation so that you get an element of 3D out of them. But nonetheless, the blood is like a plane, and sometimes you could see the fact that it was a plane and it sort of stacked. But fuck me if there was not a lot of blood in that game, because you get chased by an obscene volume of monsters. That's another issue with the Van Helsing game. I think it was kind of born to be a multiplayer game, so playing it single player, you feel a little bit overwhelmed. But nonetheless, I actually managed, because I was running away a lot, because, as specified, obscene volume of enemies. I sort of used my rifle to explode a lot of the enemies as I was running away, and the sheer volume of enemies, I actually managed to do a fucking donut in blood. So, because I was running around in circles so much. Well, boys, this is the core. Trashing this monster's history. Sassy. Holy buggering nation. That is... I got to admit, in this game, they really do a good monster, don't they? I mean, all of the pieces of Valmar, apart from Millennia, who's obviously a sexy woman, but all of the other pieces of Valmar have been like these beautifully horrendous beasts. Right, let's see what we want to do. I'm not sure. No, siree. See what? Do I have something like... I mean, I rarely use them because it just feels like they don't work.
Earth.
But, I mean, you never know. Last time, one of these did actually do what I wanted it to do. Yeah, the Death Lot is actually doing. You need to go play Ultra Kill more. Ooh. What was Ultra Kill? One assumes a game, so don't necessarily just go, it's a game. But give a bit of a description. Oh, no, that's the tentacle, that side. Yeah, oh, that's a bastard. Because I don't think that's going to hit. Oh, in fact, I've just spotted the body is trying to defense loss me, so I'm going to nip that in the wee little bud. FPS style to look and play like a PlayStation X game. It also has a style meter like DMC. Okay. Not sure if I have seen that one, but I mean, it's one of those ones where chances are quite high that, yes, I've probably seen the game somewhere online. I've seen many games. It's probably why they don't stick in the brain that much, because I've seen too many games sometimes. I'm taking a sky, I'm taking a dragon, and I'm taking a slash. Put them all together, and what have you got? Okay, with a bit of luck, Okay, didn't get the luck. I was hoping that Mareg would just be a tiny bit slower, but he really wasn't. Okay, let's boost my attack power, and then, with a bit of luck, we can Lotus Dance, suck in. We do not want to suck in and see, thank you very much, ideally. It's probably going to happen at some point, because unfortunately, yeah, it's an inevitability. But still. Dusk. I don't recognise Dusk either. Have you played? Now, what is it called? Beats per minute. I think it's just called that. BPM, beats per minute. It's a first-person shooter mixed with sort of rhythm game. So you've got like hardcore metal going, and it's like doom, 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 boom, 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 and you sort of boom, boom, and you're shooting in the sort of, you know. Bit of a letdown at the end there, wasn't it? But nonetheless.
Enemies, you shall be defeated.
The excellent Unfortunate Spaceman. Ah, which is kind of like Among Us, but an actual video game. Oh, interesting. I see. And you have heard of BPM, yes. It did the rounds and became quite a known commodity, but I mean, it's one of those ones where I really wouldn't say no to having a go at it, but it's also one of those ones where it's like, yeah, I'm shit at. I'm not exactly the greatest at fucking first-person shooters, let alone a first-person shooter that features sodding rhythm-based stuff. So it's kind of like, oh, it's a bit like the old oh, what's it called? I mean, I know the Switch version that featured The Legend of Zelda was the Cadence of Hyrule. I can't quite remember what the original game was called, but it is nonetheless sort of... let's maybe not do that. Let's see what he's doing. Poison. Well, that's going to be a nuisance, but nothing too majorly bad. Should probably save him. Oh, he's got plenty, I'd say. I reckon that one might be quite a good choice. Okay, so he's now out of moves, as it were. Crypt to the Necro Dancer, that's the one. There you go. I have tried that one, and it's just horrendous. And that's me playing the game, not the game itself. The game itself is clever and beautiful, but me trying to play the game, it's just embarrassing, to be honest. And I'm the only one watching me play the game, and it's embarrassing, so fuck knows what it'd be like if I ever tried it elsewhere. But nonetheless, it's like, fucking hell. Just move on the beat. Just move on. Right, so I move now. No, that's in between the beats. For fuck's sake, just let me move on the beats. But my hand and brain can't actually sort of cooperate in terms of getting those two elements together.
Beast King Blast.
The interaction with the game is more than a few minigames. That's fair. I think an all healer is in order, especially because I think that poison's getting through, which is slightly annoying. It did not go well for you either. Okay. I mean, it's a hard game. This is a good scene. I don't know if everybody's seen this one. We have done Poison in the past a couple of times, but I do like the way it sort of takes that forest. That's a good example of the plane, because that logo and emblem beneath them that's rotating, that's probably on a plane. I don't know. Truth be told, I don't know how much of an explanation I need here. It's one of those things where you might be just sat there going, I know what a fucking plane is. Please stop trying to explain it. I know what it is. He knows what it is. Everybody knows what it is. Stop trying to explain what a plane is. Because I don't know. You know, it's one of those oddities where I've studied 3D modelling and used 3D programs, so it's kind of a thing for me. Whereas, you know, anybody who's not touched 3D modelling might not realise what a plane is. Because I feel the devs should have more money, yes. But I can't actually play their game well. No. Oh, so many a occasion has that been the case for me, I fear. Oh, I see, he's trying to do a thing. Well, let's... Okay, the tentacle's still alive. Let's stop him doing a thing, because I don't want to be sucked in, thank you. I've already got a triple threat of poisonings, which I don't like. What's he trying now? Unfortunately, difficult to avoid. Good. Yeah, get rid of that suck-in. We don't want you sucking me in. I don't want you sucking me out either, or sucking me off. Where I buy a game more because I want the devs to have money than I actually want to play the game, I see. I must admit, I've ended up with a few purchases like that. I've never consciously done it, I've just ended up with a, you know, purchase like that. Where it's like, oh yeah, this looks awesome. I love this. Oh, I'm shit at this. But as you say, supporting some of these sort of indie developers is quite nice because they do sort of, you know, if they make something that good, they'll make something that good again, and it might be something more akin to my sort of level, I suppose, which is difficult to... Oh, I have entirely run out of MP and SP for Ryudo, which is an impressive thing to do. I've used all of his magic and his specials. Right, ideally, I don't... Truth be told, I don't necessarily think it makes much difference, but I do kind of want to defeat the tentacle first. Oh, he got a suck in after all. Well, it's fairly basic. I mean, it's of little consequence. We'll spread out eventually anyway. Oh yeah, of course, he's got nothing left. Whatever this move is could be a problem. Strangulation, yes, that could be an issue. Especially for Tio. Tio's the one I'm worried about. That's another slightly gribbly manoeuvre, isn't it? Oh, also, it appears to only be on Ryudo. That's a perfectly acceptable scenario. Do you have all healer? You do not have all healer. Do I need all healer? Not really. I think the beastie's dead. That's the ticket. Oh, pray tell, what specific indie games are those? I'm curious, because they might either be ones I recognise that I really liked, or they might be ones I don't recognise that I would like to look into.
Nothing withstands my blade.
Achievement! Yeah! A relief tag. I'm so glad I've got a tag that relieves me. And angel circles. And an achievement. That's the most important thing of all. Also, body of Almar dead. Our lives are imperiled. The body does not hold together. Cool it, Manimal. We'll have enough time. Does anybody recognise the show, the TV show, Manimal? Does anybody know that show? Because, oh my days, it's an experience, if ever you've seen one. I think I've discussed it before, because they had a trained puma, I think it was. Every single problem the guy had, he solved by turning into a puma. It's kind of like, for fuck's sake, man. Other animals exist and would probably be better for this situation. But I think, as I say, because they trained a fucking puma, they had a trained puma available. You're going to use a fucking trained puma if you have one, aren't you? The Manster, half man, half monster. No, this is Manimal. He was a man who could turn himself into animals. And I'm fairly certain the premise was he could turn himself into any animal. Because I think there was like shamanistic-y type deals. I think he might have been a doctor. I might be wrong there, but I think he might have been a doctor. And he explored the world and got access to this sort of shamanistic ritual to turn himself into an animal. But as I say, every single problem the man had, it was just, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn into a puma. What's that? And he's like, some were sensible. What's that? I need to track someone at night stealthily? Puma. But then there was like others which was sort of like, I need to destroy this this place up. Puma. No, you can be any animal. Fucking gorilla or something, mate. For fuck's sake, son. Oh, that was rough. So now that we've found the Granite Saber, what'll happen to you, Elena? How should I know? Why did it have to end up like this? Oh, I just wanted a body of my own. Ryudo, was I wrong? Millennia. Oh dear. What can the matter be? Oh, she's just releasing back to Elena. That's fair. I thought there was something more dramatic happening there. I definitely don't remember that, but probably should. I mean, in fairness, I think it was... At the earliest, it was 80s. Might have been 70s, but I think it was along the same sort of timeline of Hollow Man, I think it was. Was it Hollow Man? As in HOLOMAN, who was basically a computer program that sort of turned up as a hologram. And then Street Hawk, I think, as well. That was a bloke on a motorbike, but the motorbike was super high tech. It was the same sort of time period as Knight Rider as well, which obviously Knight Rider would be a little more known, I think. But some of these weird and wonderful oddities were truly wonderful. Whatever. Anyway, we got the Granite Saber, finally. But what do we do with it? As established, it's immense. No human could take that. No human. Luckily, we're facing off against, evil deities, but nonetheless. But how are we going to carry it? 1,000 men could not bear its weight. But Tio's the woman robot for the job. Do not worry, I shall control it. I bet you will. Whoa, here we go. Well, off the top of my head, I'd say Raji, which is a printed per... Oh, yeah. Yeah, I vaguely recognise that one, I think. Carrion, I definitely do recognise that one. I don't own it, but I do recognise it. Also realised a really good visual novel Picross game called Murder by Numbers. I recognise you've mentioned that one before, I think, possibly. That's fair enough. That's fair. I mean, when I asked the question, you didn't necessarily have to sort of rush off to get a sort of answer as such, but I do appreciate you doing so. But yeah, no, I'm just curious is the main thing. There we go. Holy fuck nuts. It's not a sword at all. Because we're inside it. Oh, and Puddle Knights. That sounds a little bit like a bunch of men in armour piddling on the street. I've left a puddle over there. Well, I've left a puddle over here. We are the Puddle Knights. Bye. Just where are we? This is the main control room of the Granite Saber. Control room? We're inside the Granite Saber? You're insane. Oh, she's activating. But yeah, turns out, Granite Saber ain't no sword, bitch. It's a fucking airship. Oh yeah. The Granite Saber is powering up. And it is beautiful. And you don't actually really get to fly it. This isn't one of those games where you suddenly, oh, now we've got the world map available. It is sort of just auto-controlled, but it is still pretty fucking cool. I mean, look at it. Vroom, do, 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 do. By using knights with long capes to cover my... Oh, that sounds really clever. That sounds exceptional. Da, 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 da. Oh, finally released co-op mode as well. Ah. No one seems to have bought it, and it's very good. Well, I've certainly never heard of it. We hang pendant on the threads of air. Remarkable. We are really high up. I feel just like I'm about to fall. So this is the power of the Granite Saber, who fights evil and has plenty of legroom. Yes, sorry, I was reading. I can't recall what I said to warrant, but I'm talking about first-time devs. So I'm not sure, unless you were just sort of adding that piece of information, which is fair enough. It just felt more like you were correcting me on something, and I couldn't quite recall. My brain sort of was like, did I say something that warranted the statement about them being first-time devs? Because it being good or bad doesn't necessarily... I mean, you know, first-time devs aren't necessarily expected to do a brilliant game first time, but nonetheless, it is quite doable. Yeah, I you know, it sounds awesome. I'll have to have a look into that, Puddle Knights. I'll try and remember it. Or someone, you know... If it's some... Oh, I didn't. Thank God for that. I got a little bit confused there for a moment, because I thought, you know, you were just mentioning it. Fair enough. As I say, I thought maybe I'd said something there that was like I'd besmirched them in some fashion, and it was like, yeah, but no, they're just first-time devs. They're first-time devs. Don't say that. They're first-time devs. That's how good my memory is. I doubted what I said and then just assumed I'd said something wrong. There you go. I have set the Grandia server to land automatically at Senheim Papal State. Is that alright for you, Udo? Fuck yeah, that'll do nicely. Perfect, thanks, Tio. And so yet another job is finished. We did it. And now the Earth itself shall be safeguarded. It is good that this is so. I have made it so. And yes, please do link it in the Discord. I try to play a fair amount of indie games, but I must admit I don't look for them. But they do tend to sort of, I suppose, at that point, if I'm not looking for them, they crop up by themselves because they then get slightly more popular. But I don't know. I feel like I do play a reasonable chunk of indie games, but I can't deny I'm a AAA fella most of the way through. Well, having said that, I've just recently been playing The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing, which is not. I don't know. I'd say it was probably an independent Steam events they've done this year with loads of demos. Yeah, I try to do that. I keep missing most of them though. But what about that Celine? I'm guessing she was trying to off us. What the hell was she thinking? Elena, you heard anything from Zera? I can't stop thinking about what Celine said.
No, I have heard nothing.
Ooh, that's a lot of demos. I mean, in fairness, that's where that Ghost Runner started off as a demo in a Steam event, didn't it? Well then, we get back to the Papal State. Zera's going to have a little confessional session with me and my mate Fisty McFisterson.
I am a little tired. Tio, can I rest somewhere?
Yes, Elena, please come with me. The Grandia Saber is fully equipped with 600 bedrooms and a pleasure palace, a vomitorium, and a masturbatorium, I suppose. I said I wanted to get through the first half hour, now all bets are off. It's not very comfortable, is it?
If Ryudo should present himself before His Holiness Zera with the horns of Valmar.
Yes, if Ryudo goes up to Zera, presents his horn, Zera's going to be a bit miffed.
Oh, Lord Granus,
Look, Zera will have a lot to say, but if you don't want to hear it, don't listen. Most of them suck. Yeah, but, you know, I think, literally, I'm about to say exactly what you've said in the second half. Find something like Conscript, which isn't even in a game, even in a genre I like, and I'm going to buy it. Yeah. It is one of those ones where, yeah, sure, in 40 demos, 38 of them suck balls hard. But those two gems that you find are well worth sort of ploughing through the shit, I suppose. Phrasing is not my strongest point, but there you go. Like I never listen to you. Why must I always do what you want? I'm my own person, sorta.
Millennia.
That Zera really pisses me off. I hate him. All he wants to do is take away people's freedom. All he wants is make you his slave. So why do you listen to everything he says like a loyal dog? That's good to hear that Spelunky 2's... Although, again, that's back to, for fuck's sake, why did you release a buggy game? But I suppose that Spelunky 2 is slightly... Oh, I don't know. I suppose if you start letting some off, you might as well let them all off. But Spelunky 2 is a bit more understandable because I imagine it's a vastly smaller team. Because Spelunky 2, although obviously they've had fairly major success with Spelunky 1 not under their belt, they are still moderately small. Is the kind of game where you can get some weird interactions. Possibly, yeah. It was interesting hearing about you've obviously seen Nicarin play Hades, but it was fascinating hearing that the petting the dog one was a really difficult thing to accomplish because of the way the game is set on its sort of 2D planes. You're obsessed with planes today, aren't you? Yeah, apparently so, but nonetheless, it was apparently very easy to do the combat in Hades because everything's on the appropriate planes for the 2D graphics. But then when they tried to get you to allow you to pet the dog, because every game now has to allow you to pet the dog, it's becoming a guaranteed feature, which is, I mean, fair enough, I suppose, but it is a bit sort of like, really? Because especially something like Hades, with it being an indie game, it was like someone actually had to take a lot of time to just allow you to pet the dog, and it's like, really? Did you have to do that? No, you didn't. But arguably, I think they'd perfected most of the other elements of the game before they started fiddling with it. But still, you lie! His Holiness Seru's trying to save me. See, it's always about you or the stupid world. What about Ryudo? Don't you care about what'll happen to him? Drop through a hole to collect something, then instead of using a rope back up, the other person just leaves and both exit. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. I thought it was... I really wanted it to be more a case. The first time I read that sentence, I thought it was more a case of you can do stuff like one person drop through a hole to collect something, and then the other person takes all the ropes and fucks off. Which I think would be exactly what I'd do. Don't worry. You drop down that hole, you collect that treasure. Be almost like Indiana Jones, wouldn't it? Toss me up the idol and I'll throw you the whip. They toss me up the idol and I fuck off. But that would be unfair and unreasonable, but nonetheless exactly what I would do. You really think you can be safe and happy? Yes, I can. You can't get safety from the light, you can only get it from the darkness. No, you are Valmar. Do not attempt to deceive me. Leave me be. Ha. Even if you close off your heart, I'm not going to go anywhere, Elena. Go away, I hate you. Oh, she's like a 15-year-old girl, which arguably she might be. I don't know the ages of the characters in this game. You can't make me go away. You should know that by now. I mean, jeez. You are the wings of Valmar, that is all. I have no room for you in my heart. Go away, Millennia. You blockhead. Stop. I'll never, ever let you have your way with Ryudo. Elena has overcome the wings of Valmar. Son of a bitch. Ton of moving parts that can interact, yes. Ball and Chain has the ability to break blocks, but the Maui's head statue is supposed to be unbreakable. Interesting. So I'm assuming the Ball and Chain does manage to break it, which is probably a bad thing. Goodbye, Millennia. We will not meet again. Oh, we will. Also, I wouldn't want to not meet Millennia again. Millennia's awesome. Elena can die in a fire. Except that would kill Millennia, so I don't want that. But the ball will actually break it anyways, yeah. A bug that allowed a solo player to take the Eggy through it. The Eggy. Man, what the hell is wrong with Elena? We came all this way to find the damn Granus Saber, and now she pulls this. Well, you know, I've got the horns of Valmar, of course she's going to pull it. Oh, thank you very much, Tio, for the tea. Tea, oh? Elena may still have some unfinished business. Still, we got the Granus Saber. The hard part is over. All that's left is to put the big toy in its big chest. Yeah. And the job is done. Can't she just be a little happier? Best kind of bug is the one that the devs make a feature because it does something cool. I mean, that, interestingly enough, that happened a lot. I mean, I imagine you know this. This is not news to you. But that happened a lot at the early days of video games, didn't it? I don't think it happens as much. I don't think it happens as often nowadays. I think most things Well, I don't know. I suppose arguably bugs will happen, and if they go, that's interesting, let's do something with that bug, then, you know, it's always good. But I think that really did happen. It flourished a bit more in the early days of video game programming, I think. Because I think, I'm fairly certain Mortal Kombat, and no, isn't it? Is it Street Fighter? One of the earliest Street Fighters wasn't supposed to have sort of combos and stuff, but people managed to put it in, and then it became the mainstay for fighting games. Is that the one I'm thinking of, or is that something slightly different? I don't know. Not entirely sure, but nonetheless. Yes, I remember hearing that one as well. I wouldn't have been able to name the fella, but yes, I do vaguely recall that one, because I watch a lot of these what culture lists, and so some of them crop up, you know, 10 best features that came from unintended situations and stuff, i.e. mostly bugs.
Let it be. You will only make matters worse, for your tone rarely bespeaks your true sentiment. Ryudo, the kid's just fishing for praises from Elena. Indeed, it is so.
What's happening? I don't know. What I mean, shit, maybe? Something? Oh, the power's gone off. What is this? No! The day of darkness! It cannot be! Probably can. B-Rex. First person to complete that solo eggplant run in the credits. Interesting. I suppose, you know, sometimes you do get mentioned in these things if you do it well enough. Hey, what's happening? Elena? The shit is going on. The day of darkness. The Valmar moon crosses over the sun. Turns out the moon is hollow. I don't think Lord Granus can help you now, because fairly certain Lord Granus doesn't exist. Is it really the day of darkness? Valmar will revive. Well, what do we do? What should we do? Let's go see the priest of the cathedral, and our Pop Zedder will help us. That's true. I mean, a lot of these things are now shown on sort of Twitch and YouTube, and that's free marketing. Let's go to the cathedral, it's safe there. I mean, you hope it's safe there, but let's be honest. Church equals evil. Oh, there you go. I imagine any religious people in the audience now have shat themselves with rage and left. But nonetheless, church equals evil. The day of darkness came all of a sudden. So the priests have all been lying. They said the day of darkness wouldn't come. And yet you're going to the church, you prick. Sorry, that was actual genuine, slightly too genuine sort of vitriolic hatred of that guy. Please help us, the day of darkness and the nights. Slow down, what the hell are you talking about? The Knights of Granus massacred everyone in front of the cathedral. What the fuck? What? This cannot be. The Knights would never raise a hand against the innocent. Their concern is with the heretical.
We must inquire into this withal.
Let's get moving.
Super duper epic music. Super duper epic music. Yeah.
Mama, I'm scared. Hey, hold on, what was it? The moon is scary. Someone in here, then everyone dead.
Oh, why is the day of darkness come? Is everyone following the teachings of Granus?
Yes, except the teachings of Granus were taught by bastards. When the sky suddenly grew dark, the cathedral knights quickly came to the cathedral, raising their swords. They... Calm down, work through this. Let's talk about it. Slow down, what happened? I don't know. We shitting well don't know. I believe it's due to not trusting Western religious institutions. I mean, in fairness, they have a point. Ran to the cathedral to seek help, that's all. Oh no. But yeah, I mean, distinctly, that these holy knights are not as holy as they first appeared, I think. That's what I mentioned earlier. I'm fairly certain they are mostly evil. Very much evil, yeah. I don't know precisely where I want to go. The inn's probably not a bad choice, actually, because I can probably have a quick recover. The deaf darkness is really here. I tell you what you should let me do. You should let me recover and then save the game, please, sir. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to do for me. What do you want from me? Let's get to the cathedral. Let's see. Do we have? Yes, we do. Head to the cathedral hall and then have a pool right in the middle of their garden. I'm gonna shit on their roses. Gonna ruin their day. But make a splendid fertilizer for the roses. Jump, stompy, stompy nights, stompy nights. They are much bigger than expected. How nice of this guy to let you take a nap in his inn while the world might be ending. Exactly. There is murder in their bearing, not madness. Damn it, let's get to it then. Let's fuck these shitheads up. Do. Probably best to use the old philosophy. If you don't know what he's doing, twat him in the face so he can't do it. Is that an old phrase? That is an old phrase. The one problem we've got is I forgot to re-equip Elena. It's the biggest issue. Madness. This is Grandia. Still quite shit, but surprisingly good. Madness. They call it madness. They do. Baggy trousers. Baggy trousers. There you go, there's another madness reference for you. Laying them down, thick and fast. Emphasis on the word thick. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Ow! Tio took that hard. She took it properly. She didn't want to take it, but it was insisted upon by the knight. Let's warp in and twat him with my star. I was brought up on madness. Ah! Madness? They call it madness. I was brought up on the madness. Both my parents are massive fans of the madness. I don't know why I did that. It's just the way you started that sentence. I was brought up on the madness. It sounded like mine. I was brought up on the madness. Molded by it. You merely adopted the madness later in life. I was born wearing baggy trousers. I don't think I was influenced too much, but certainly I think my father did quite enjoy the band Madness. But I wasn't particularly exposed to them that much, although I quite liked what I saw. What were those guys? Look, see this? They're as inhuman as they're set. From the appearance of things, you are correct. They are not human. Demons in disguise. They don't even have wings, and yet they're in the skies. Because it sounds like different words.
Why? Did the day of darkness really come? We must meet with His Holiness Zera. Quickly, Ruda, we must hurry.
Yes, because Zera's going to sort this out. Greatest lyricists ever. Now, see, I can't tell until perhaps the next message as to whether that's a genuine statement or you sort of going and not thinking it's genuine. That could very easily be a little bit of sarcasm. I think they're some of the greatest lyricists ever. It could very easily be you suddenly turn around and reveal a line of dialogue in one of their songs that is absolute horseshit. Or you're going to reveal that actually no, I truly do think they are fantastic because some of their lyrics are incredibly poignant. So it will be interesting to find out what further statement you make as to which side I go. Celine, you evil bitch. Well, she's called the knights off, which at least means I don't have to fight any more knights at this exact moment, but I may very well end up having to fight her.
Celine!
I
Did
think
you order this?
I think she
No.
might be a piece of Valmar, but
Unfortunately.
I'm not 100% sure.
Is this the will of Grannis? Why would you do such a thing? Saying it's the time of Valmar. Just whose side are you on?
High Priestess Celine.
I really like the voice
You
actor of
probably do
Ryudo.
not
I don't know.
understand.
He's just got that. He's got a sense of drama about them. I must admit,
Knowing
I only
nothing
know
and
the
without
sort of really
understanding,
known ones,
ignorance is
perhaps.
bliss.
What do you mean?
But yeah, so I don't recognise
the way
whether
you
I've heard
are.
them or not. I don't know,
Do
but
not
I don't
think it is
recognise
funny?
the.
Why so painful?
But then they also have
Why so
songs like Baggy
ugly?
Trails. No, I mean, in fairness, they can have
man's
powerful
own
songs
sin.
and daft
The
songs. They're not,
desperate
you know,
masses are powerless,
they're not contractually
clinging
obliged to
God,
provide
their
power in
hearts
every single
without
song. They can
faith.
just have a bit of fun with some. But
Mouthing prayers, but fearing
at least
the
that
day of
does
darkness,
reveal
thronging
that,
in the
you
cathedral
know,
like
that was an
rats,
earnest.
huddling in a
I think they're some of the
sinking
greatest
ship.
lyricists ever, which is difficult to tell in text
You
form.
killed them for that?
You know, that's why I was having
Poor
trouble, because in
people.
text form it was difficult to
Death
get
is
the
their salvation.
emphasis
Did
behind
they
it.
not themselves pray for release from their suffering?
I mean, you would
What?
loosely assume that
High
cardiac
Priestess
arrest was
Celine,
something to do with a
why
guy
was
having
it
a heart
necessary
attack.
to go so far?
Elena?
Elena, have you forgotten your own mission?
Otherwise, it would be, you know,
Elena?
Cadillac
Just
arrest,
what
which
is
is
she
a
talk-
bloke who gets arrested for stealing a Cadillac. Or cardiac
Where do you
arrest,
place your
which
faith
is
now?
a vest
In
with a
that
heart
man,
image.
maybe?
Yes,
But I am
she
different.
can place
to
her
devote
faith.
my life to his holiness,
She can place
Sarah.
her faith in my
That
man any day.
alone is my wish.
As long as I can place my man in her faith, I'm happy. And yes, she is absolutely fucking loopy loo. She is several fucking walnuts short of a walnut whip. And in fairness, there's only one walnut on a walnut whip.
Sad taste.
I wish I'd had
Please,
something better.
Surround me
now.
with your great love.
Oh, I think I will be putting her out of her misery in the not too distant
Your
future.
Highness Zara, this is my true love.
So, are you the love of Valma? Yeah, I think she gets stabbed up by her own knights there. Yeah. The knights sort of raised their swords and she tossed herself off and has now become an amalgam of just grotesque night goo. And frankly, I don't think you should ever be able to utilise the phrase grotesque night goo. Although suddenly, oh, that's why she's talking about heart. Yeah, that's why she's obsessed with love. She's Valmar's heart. Of course she is. And so we've got a left eye and a right eye. Don't necessarily want cold to happen, but I also don't want that to happen. But Ryudo kind of is a bit stuck at the moment. It'll just sort of do that.
Sworn enemies, you shall be defeated.
Annoyingly, Mareg is going to be just a little bit too slow to block this, so I'm not entirely sure which one's getting through. But oh no! Sky Dragon Slash has just blocked him a little bit. It's not cancelled it, but it has delayed it slightly, which allows for a Beast Fang cut. Which means... Oh, I see, it's that bit. Oh, it's kind of that I want to cancel. Let's Lion's Roar first. Okay, so like, if you fuse together with your elite guard to make this thing, you do kind of have to ask, are we the baddies? We've got skulls on our caps. Are we the bad guys? Right. Yes! That's what I wanted to cancel. I wanted to cancel cold.
Impact bomb.
Here goes my big fat bum. Kaboom! That's what we like to see. Lion's Roar.
The lion's roar!
Here now. Here now, brown cow. But yes, I mean, the entire church is just a front for Valmar. If you were wondering, if that was left under any... If there was any confusion left, the entire church is basically Valmar. I can't remember what Zera is. I mean, it's definitely plausible that Zera might be the brain of Valmar, maybe? I genuinely can't remember which parts remain available as actual parts of Valmar, but certainly he may very well be something like the brain. 9 random drop hair colours, 90 wreaths, lovely. A few event-only things I'll just have to wait for spring for, and 117 avatar poses. And a ton of emotes. Oh my. Yes, I imagine the emotes are going to be... Oh, I should have blocked that.
Sworn
Cock.
enemies,
This
you
is
shall be defeated.
unfortunate. Whatever it is, it's going to be painful. Mostly for Mareg and Tio. Now, hopefully, if Tio can survive... I mean, if Tio can get there very, very quickly, I could block this. Very, very quickly, Tio. Very, very, very quickly, Tio. Thank you. What is it I'm trying to block? The Black Fog Spew. Blocked. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. Right, I think, depending on what it's doing... Okay, looks like it's just... Oh, it's doing defense loss again. That's a problem that I need to possibly resolve, because I've now taken 2 of those, and that's a lot of defense. Yes, I think droplets of life. Unfortunately, that's going to be quite slow. What we need to do is stop Avicii Slash. Yes. Yes, we definitely do. But you earn oranges. Are they chocolate oranges? Are they Terry's chocolate orange? By completing the daily challenges, I need them both for both emotes and poses. Ah. Fair enough. Okay, let's see. I think it's got to be... Oh, I don't need an all healer, you dipshit. Oh well.
This should help.
I panicked because I saw the health bars and then remembered that she's, you know, Elena's getting around to healing us. It's just she's taking her sweet time. So you've been dumping them into a random post to try and finally clear out that crate, I see, yeah. That is often the way with multiple poses. You end up just using random ones just to, you know... I often find I use them just for a moment or two, literally just to sort of stop them showing a little icon that says new. That's in reference to different games, that is, not specifically that one, but that is one of those ones where it's like, oh, I'll just use them, it'll stop saying new then, and that new is annoying me. I don't need to know it's new. There's several others I need to know that are new. What is this? Black Fog Spew. Concerning, because I still don't know what that status ailment is. Once you have an empire, does it become ungettable in those crates? An emote? Yeah. I did wonder. It was definitely a curiosity where it was like, an empire? And I can't say I actually thought emote as a possibility there. I thought maybe you knew something about the game that I didn't. And it was like, an empire? You can get empires in it? Wow. Wow. No, I think I want to keep up the pain. Painesville, Alabama. That's right. Bloom. Bloom the lotus flower. We are heading in the right direction. Obviously, we are damaging it, but nonetheless, the crucial element is what we are doing. Okay, we are probably going to have to take cold because Black Fog Spew is very much the worst. Worst of the bunch, I think. Once you get 9 of a card, you can't pull it from the pack anymore. That's good. Yes, that is good, actually.
Freezing range.
That's nice. That is nice that they do that. Crackling! Now, will that delay it slightly so I stand a chance of blocking? It'll just straight kill it. That'll fucking do. As an option, that will do nicely. I'll tell you what I can probably do. I mean, a normal attack would probably do it. Let's just do a normal attack, I think. Twat him in the face. Very happy that Smite does it. Yes, I mean, it's the best way of doing it. I know some games will try and take advantage and avoid doing it so that you replace these things, but it's much better. It breeds a certain level of goodwill in a game if they do it in a decent fashion, you know? Like, if they do it in a way where you can genuinely, hand on heart, go, that's a good way of doing it. It's going to earn them brownie points that will possibly, you know, it'll possibly allow, you know, like with Smite, I'd be willing to drop more money on Smite than I am perhaps on other games, because Smite feel like they do it in a decent fashion. Not necessarily 100% true. You know, I'm sure they've had their shenanigans in the past, but nonetheless, from my knowledge of them, you know, they tend to do it quite well and quite reasonably.
Don't worry, everything's fine.
Which, as I say, inclines me to drop them some more money, because so I feel like the goodwill factor. It might just be me that the aorta pummeler. I mean, it's exactly what it says on the tin, isn't it? He took his aorta, fucking gave him a pummel. Gave him a pummeling. That's a shame. Although, I suppose, arguably... Oh no, it is actually active. Good. I can cancel that. Marvellous. That's exactly what I wanted to see. That's right. I wanted to see that thing there. Do. When they introduce new characters and thus new hairstyles, the 40 crate will come back. I see. But still a fair bit of 30 crates to go. Fair enough. But it wasn't, no. Gave me a good pummeling with his aorta. Hey, stop that! Dragon's arm. You'll probably know. I probably won't. Ooh, I like the sound of being able to customise the dice. I mean, it's probably inconsequential entirely, but I just like the idea. I like it survived with 1 health after that dragon zap. That is entirely despicable. I mean, it didn't make any difference. Ryudo was there to kill it off, but still, it's kind of like, fuck off. Fuck off, you and your 1 health. How dare you? But yes, I do like the sound of customising your own dice, because I think, again, it just gives you... I suppose it's another one of those options for prestige, you know, look at me and my fancy dice. But it's also a nice way of going, I just like my die. It makes me happy every time I roll it. So I quite like it. Green dice with the gingerbread man for the 1. Ooh, that is nice. Nicely Christmassy. Oh, is Millennia feasting on the heart, one assumes? Or Elena's kind of doing it, but... Elena? You're right, Elena? You just took in a piece of Valmar. That's exactly what he said. Oh, and pray tell, what is this thing? High Priestess Celine's circlet. How could High Priestess Celine have been possessed by the heart of Valmar? Because Pope Zera is a dickhead. And he stuck his dick in Celine, and his dick ejected the heart of Valmar. I can't guarantee he stuck his dick in Celine. That is slander, I think, is the vocalisation. Yeah, I think slander's if you say it, libel is if you write it. I'm a songstress of Granus, my mission. Elena, what the hell are you doing? His Holiness Zera assigned me a task which I have just completed. In order to prevent Valmar's awakening, His Holiness Zera asked me to collect all the pieces and absorb them into me. And then the Granus saber shall be used to destroy me and Valmar as well. By the blood of... This is not a good plan. What about Millennia? What about the fucking horn that I've got? So please do not come any further. I don't want to see your heart destroyed. Damn it, Elena. Look, I don't want to see her soul destroyed either. Should we not follow her? Elena's intent is not to die needlessly. She does her best to live for your sake. You know what you must do, Ryudo. Yeah, I guess. We gotta go after her and stop her killing herself. That's what we have to do. I don't know if there's an option that allows you to leave, but I fucking aren't. Fucking ain't leaving. It's no good. He's dead. Ryudo, we must find Elena. Yeah, Elena, hang on. Just hang on, damn it. Audience chamber, maybe? Maybe Pope Zera's room? How brutal. No sense. Contemplate the madness. Oh, here we go. At least get this fella. You were wrong after all. Zera, you said there is no God but Lord Granus. What happened here? Hey, pull yourself together. Holy door. What did Zera see inside? Oh, did he go up to some form of gateway door that we've encountered in previous occasions and get himself a piece of Valmar? Oh, I think he fucking did. Can't believe these guys fell asleep in strawberry jam. Is that a reference? I feel like that's a reference because I recognise it. I just can't. My mind's not leaping to where I recognise it, but I feel like I recognise it from somewhere. So do please put me out of my misery if that is a reference. Do please tell me where it's from, because I get the impression you're going to say where it's from and I'm going to go, shit, yeah, I must watch that again. But I might be wrong. I might be wrong. The holy door. What is that?
Elena's scent yet hangs yet in the air. There, these stairs. The little stairs with clogs on. They're on the stairs.
This must be the door. Zera's inside.
Yes, and upon my honour, Elena is here as well, for I cannot mistake her scent.
Oh, you don't think it's a reference to anything in particular? Fair enough. Do you say it frequently in chat then, perhaps? That might be where I recognise it from. Maybe I am getting confused and, thinking I've heard a reference that's... Oh, okay, that was interesting. Mareg and Tio sunk through the elevator. What's strange, though, is Ryudo didn't. That's the weirdest thing. Like, if all three of them had sunk through the elevator, fair fucking dues. But the fact that only two of them sunk through the elevator is just weird. I mean... I beg pardon? I think that's the wrong chat you've put that in. Especially, I don't need that emblazoned on the screen. We need at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 or so messages to eliminate the phrase "cum squad meeting." Random lobbies currently hosting a game. I see. Well, I suppose. I mean, a lot of them feel like they're linked. Like, come in, please. Eli's gay. He's the leader of the cum squad meeting, and we're going to be gambling in anime fashion.
How tragic.
Your Holiness Zera, did you know that High Priestess Selene was possessed by the heart of Valmar?
Why, yes. Well, I'm the one who put it in her. I put it in Selene.
Zera, what are you doing to Elena?
I was planning on having my way with her and then killing her, but, you've kind of mixed.
A save lobby that was called Josh is a cunt. I mean, my first question, is he? That's the crucial element here now. I think we need to establish some facts. Is Josh a cunt? Because if it's an accurate description, fair dues. Fair dues. Perfectly reasonable name. However, if it's an embellishment, and he is not, in fact, a cunt, very much, shouldn't be using it. Yes, he is. Fair enough then. Absolutely fine. That's the name you want. I'd even possibly consider capitalising that C so that you really put the emphasis in there.
Well, if it's not Mr. Ryudo, thank you. You have done well.
He's my best mate. I had a feeling you might say that. This one is just boosh. I'm assuming that's when you go into the lauded gentry and have a poo. I'm sat on a toilet made of gold. I'm having a poosh. Because it's a posh poo, a poosh. I like that slightly more than I'd intended to like that. Oh my, did you see the other day? Joshua went and had a poosh. Yeah, he had the poshest of all the poos.
Ryudo, I told you not to come. I told you I wanted you to last longer. For God's sake, Ryudo, learn some self-control. Think of sports and old people. Pope Zera, please destroy Valmar quickly. I beg you, please. Stick your blade in me.
We're very mature and sensible here. Yes. Yes, it is. Or yes, we are, rather. No, I suppose I was thinking of this is a place. So, yes, it is mature and sensible here. Preparations for the ceremony are complete. I've got my blade out and I'm going to stick it in you. But that's... I don't know what that is. I think that's evil.
Do you not need the crown of saber?
No, I don't. Now all I need is you, dear.
Then quickly. Elena, for fuck's sake, stop wandering off with the dirty old man.
Ah, please wait, Elena. I must give Ryudo his rewards. First, let me show you the real world. Everyone, please come this way. I'm going to show you the real world. What does the real world mean? It means he's evil. And he is. I knew it the first time I met him. He's so evil. He's the most evil. Now, I do question. Save point game? And you got the wibble of the elevator, which is horrendous, truth be told. That is absolutely horrendous. I mean, it reminds me a little bit of bloody Sonic Adventure, where you get the items, you know, like the speed boots and the ring, light speed wrist bracelet and stuff. It was a very similar effect underneath those elements, but I had sort of planned on putting it away, but old school RPG. If you get stuck, you get fucking stuck.
Light and darkness are intertwined. Man's soul is also thus defined.
Oh.
A balance giving rise to good and evil.
I must admit, I do vaguely remember what happens when he actually reveals himself as evil. His portrait is kind of epic. Let's see, come on. Do it.
What are you saying,
Do it.
Pope Zira?
Reveal yourself as evil.
Why did you send us to get the Grana Saber?
Because I
Are
wanted
not the
it.
preparations for sealing Valmar already complete? All we
No.
need is the blessing of Lord Granus.
There is no Lord
Yes,
Granus.
that is certainly so.
I am Valmar.
Yet darkness is strong.
I am releasing
and
Valmar.
light is weak. Why do you think that is?
Because darkness rules this world. I don't think I'm supposed to be doing anything, but we seem to be hovering. There we go. Answer the question, Lena.
Long, long ago, light and darkness fought each other in perpetuity, wrestling each
lovely
other for
word.
dominion. Men too fought for light or darkness. Hence the battle of good and evil began.
And after all these years,
It
we
was
still
this
haven't come up with a
battle
better name.
that put an end to the rivalry between Granus and Valmar.
A butt tuber is a
Good
palindrome.
and evil.
I'm so glad.
Two should bear
I'm so
witness
glad
to
I
the
now know
truth.
that. But you're quite right. It really is. But yeah, what a peculiar thing. Because darkness believe in a thing called love. Exactly. That's why they're stronger. That's why Celine was going on about it. You heard her. She genuinely did believe in a thing called love, and I missed the opportunity. Oh, that fucking sucks. She was the darkness, and she was believing in a thing called fucking love, and I missed the opportunity.
Light of Lord Granus's love.
Fucking sucks.
The world was bountiful, filled with radiant beauty. But
Then, as is always the way, the darkness came.
then Valmar arrived.
Yes.
and
His
brought the
fingers
taint of
blotted out the
darkness to
sun.
world.
I know, I'm
Stained
ashamed
the
I missed
pure
I missed a really
innocent hearts
opportune
of
moment for a darkness gag. Oh, there are some more Grana Sabers trying to tackle the darkness.
A battle between light and darkness was inevitable. The battleground stretched as far as the eye could see, and the
How
fighting
beautiful. Especially, did you see that? They turn into
endlessly,
fucking
with neither
squid
side
rocket
yielding
things.
an inch. Finally, the time had come for Lord Granus and Valmar to face each other, to settle the long, endless battle.
I mean, it's a hell of a scene. Absolute hell of a scene. Also very dumb.
How could that be? That was the end of the battle of good and evil?
Yes, Lord Granus died long, long ago.
I mean, I kept in fairness saying Granus wasn't around. Technically did exist though, fair dues. I thought he genuinely just wasn't ever in existence. So you decided instead of worshipping a fallen god,
Lord
you would
Grannis
worship
died?
the real one, Valmar.
Yes. That is why there is no light in man's soul. Now that Grannis is dead, there is no way to prevent the revival of Valmar.
So
The
you
world is
decided to
certainly
embrace it. Because you're a dick.
What?
Yet.
Then why did you make us hunt for the Granite Saber?
Oh. Chill your roll, Marek.
You could never use the sword
And
of
I'd
a
suggest-
dead god to defeat Valmar.
I'd suggest stop shaking
who is about to
and just
be
lower the backs of your
newly
feet.
reborn.
Just lower the backs of your feet.
You cannot be Pope Sarah.
Oh, he is. Just so happens that Pope's... Here we go. I think he gets even more evil. But you can see... You can see the flaring of the eyes and the anime hair going drastic in the picture. Specifically the portrait, not the 3D model.
What did you say? You can't!
Yes, Celine too performed her last service. It was for that purpose that I planted the heart of Valmar within her.
Told you.
My goal.
My god isn't here, so I'm going to side with the devil instead. Exactly. It is literally that simplistic.
Everything I have done so far has been...
Oh.
You fool! The devil's trade is in damnation, and your dealings will damn us all,
I love
even
this game.
yourself!
It's cheesy as fuck,
That I
but
know well. Yet to save this doomed world, we have no choice.
this to me is the
but to
golden
use
age
the power of Valmar.
turn-based RPGs with their ridiculously good versus evil storylines and their
Why is the crest of
absolute
darkness
fucking
here?
nonsense cheese storylines.
Songstress of
Absolutely
Grannis,
fucking love them.
girl of vile power.
Especially the
shall
music, the
Valmar.
crescendo it's building to.
Elena.
Your Highness Sarah?
Yeah, well, guess what? Guess what, dick
As I
bitch Sarah?
promised, I shall drive
You
Elena
underestimated my
from you.
power!
Drive out darkness and sin.
High Kino? Precisely what is High Kino? I don't immediately recognise the phrase. I'm assuming by high you just mean lots of, but it's the Kino part. Is that a specific... Oh, here we go! There you go. Look at the moon! Look at my moon! There you go, full evil, and he's got a gash on his head. So yeah, I've got a feeling he might be the brain of Valmar. Not 100% certain. It will be revealed. The term used to describe movies. Oh, I see. I suppose probably has a similar origin to cinema somewhere back. I don't know why I'm assessing the origin of a word. I have no history of understanding the origins of words, but I'm just assessing the fact that it's got similar characteristics to cinema. It's kind of difficult to describe. Fair enough. No way in hell he's getting away. Elena, I'll save you. What course of action do you suggest? I don't know. Sniffing something? It's probably your way of doing it. We can go to the moon on the Grannis Saber. I mean, she just fucking drops that. She just drops that line. We can go to the moon on the Grannis Saber. But there is barely enough energy, and there is the risk that the horns within Ryudo will be activated. It's like the highest form of art. I see. Okay, fair it is. I know, but I can't just abandon her. I won't let you get away, Zara. You won't get your way. I will not give you the horn. My horn is exclusively set for Elena and Millennia. Unfortunately for me, it's mostly Elena because he likes her more. Me, I like Millennia. Ryudo, however, I think is destined to be with Elena, unfortunately. Nick was here to point out that being Kino doesn't mean good. I see. I suppose arguably most of these things don't always necessarily mean good, just because they are, just because they are the highest form of art doesn't necessarily make it a good thing. What is it? Sort of art is very subjective for starters, and for seconds. So is it? Oh, it's pointing me to the inn, which is fair enough. I probably want to go to the pastures. But first, I think we're going to go to the inn. Unfortunately, we're down a party member without Elena hanging around, which is potentially a problem. I'll tell you what we'll do as well. Although, having said that, let's save it first. Death Darkness, come! Alright, we're going to save it, deal with our level ups. Our levelling, our levelling like that. That's the ticket. Right. Oh, hoo, hoo. I have 20,000 special coins. Oh, I'm a special coin. I've already maxed that one, which is interesting. Let's max out Blind's Raw, because I think that'll be well worth it. I feel like Fast Dance Well would be worthwhile upgrading. Those two, not quite so much. These, probably, but I might look to the books for a little bit. Right, we've dealt with all of yours. No one's currently using the Chaos Egg, but at some point we will be back to using the Chaos Egg, so we might as well maximum eggitude. Mist Egg, yes please. I specified I'm just going to max them willy-nilly without any real consideration or thought track behind it. We are at that stage where I've got enough points to just get all of my primary use eggs up to maximum. In fact, I think I've literally just managed that. And I've got some points to spare, so we'll stick it in the books as well. Right, let's focus at the moment on shit that I have equipped, although I think, for the most part, not quite all of them, but for the most part, we have in fact already done that. So, yeah, that'll do. And now, again, I'm just going to use... Oh, there we go! Achievement unlocked! Fully max out a book. Oh, I see, yeah, that's a magic book, of course it is. Defensive. I'll tell you what, might be worthwhile going more for their abilities. We'll focus primarily on Ryudo and Tio. Might be an auspicious decision, but nonetheless, I am going to focus on those two primarily. Save the game! Motherfucking save that game! Ooh, yeah! Well, there we go. We've had pretty much, that's the primary sort of... That's the big major plot drop that we've been working for the devil the whole time. And now we have to defeat Zera, which I think we do. I mean, obviously we do. They don't just allow Zera to win and then go, that's it, you're done. That's it. You've completed the game. Zera won. It was a miserable ending, but fuck it. Never mind. We're happy with it. No, you do beat Zera eventually, but I think you beat him, but then there's a twist. So there's a little bit more on top of you having beaten him. Because I think next week, depends on how fast I can get through the moon, I'm not entirely sure. But next week might be the biggie. The real hard hitter that will, it might do you in. So be there or be square. But don't, whatever you do, be a circle. Because then you're just going round and round and round and round and round and round and round. Let's do... Yeah, fuck it. We'll have some of these. I mean, that'll do. Not sure how long they are, so we'll grab 3 and see what happens. Play those songs. Oh, yes, I play those songs. That's a lot shorter than is entirely necessary, but add that. So was that about 3, 4, 5? Yeah, it's about 5 minutes. Enjoy some music for about 5 minutes while I go for a piss. Thought it more information than you needed, but nonetheless, about 5-minute break and then we'll refresh for Enslaved. So I will see you in 5.